A couple of things from Matthew 9, Mark 5, and Luke 8. The young maiden that was risen from the dead, who wasn't actually dead, she slept. Well, physically she was dead, but flesh and blood are powerless. The Spirit lives always. Even in those who aren't saved, they will live in eternal torment. This young maiden's body was dead, but her spirit lived, and God was able to quicken her flesh and bring her back from what we call death, the body. But I always think it's interesting, in each of these passages it says that they laughed him to scorn and Jesus put them out. But this is interesting too. He's going to help, at the time, a young lady who was not yet dead. And yet, he was in no hurry. The woman in the crowd came up and touched his hem of his garment. And he stopped and said, "Who touched me? And who touched my clothes?" It's always interesting when Jesus asks a question. Rest assured, he always knows the answer. He asks questions, but not for his own understanding, but for the understanding of those about him. So he knew who touched his clothes. He looked about as though he didn't know. Causes people to think, well, why are you asking? I thought you were the chosen one. How do you not know? And he knew. He knew the thoughts of people when they, reasoned within themselves and they asked questions, so he knew. And the disciples kind of rebuke him. That's also interesting. There's all these people around and you're asking who touched me? To pray the Lord that I'm not quite so arrogant. Do 462 next.